process, but I read the summary of their recommendations. Incidentally, this is just a tentative summary. So I agree with many of the recommendations. In fact, these recommendations were also contained in previous review and reports of the university.
Thank you, Dean Zamora. And may we have the last question from our audience? Yes, sir.
This is Professor Espanto, Pacifico Espanto, retired professor, and I think also an insider in many ways, because as former Chancellor David knows very well, I've been inside into the bold decisions that he made during his term. And that's why my question has to do with this. Knowing the resistance of many people to certain decisions that affect them personally, despite the fact that I see the advantages of clustering. I mean, theoretically, they knew that. But since they felt that there was too much disadvantage to themselves and to their own people, they resisted it very much. But you made the big decision to cluster in the College of Agriculture. Would you expect, therefore, that the others could follow in making these bold decisions in order to cluster further certain disciplines, not only in the College of Agriculture, but in other units where phasing out of certain units would be involved? I'm putting out, for instance, a certain unit that you phased out, and there was so much pain, not only in you, but in the people who were involved. Do you therefore expect that this can be carried out by future administrators in UPLB? Thank you.
I don't think it would be very difficult to cluster the units in the physical sciences. But I think there will be stiffer resistance to clustering the units in the social sciences and the arts and the humanities. For example, it's almost unthinkable, no, to merge the two undergraduate programs in communication, development communication and communication arts, no. But who knows, no, with decisive, action-oriented leadership, that might be possible. Also, I think retooling, transfer of people from one unit to another without necessarily firing them, natural, retrenchment would help in trying to soften the resistance. But of course, this will take time. I don't know, maybe Dean Legaspi can answer this better, no? Is there, is it possible, no, in the short term to merge communication arts and development communication?
Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
There have been attempts in the past to merge DevCom and humanities, not com arts alone, but humanities which offers com arts. And that there is a world of difference between the humanities and development communication. Development communication is more on a social science discipline. Humanities is humanities.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, thank you for all the questions coming in from our moderators from the different constituent universities, and some of the questions were sent via Skype. And at this point in time, thank you very much, Professor David. May I request now our UP President, Dr. Emerlinda Roman, to give the certificate of award to Professor David.
I'd like to thank Dr. David for that very frank assessment of UP Los Baños. I also admire his boldness in coming up with some suggestions. I do not fully agree with some of them, and I am willing to debate with him, of course, but this is not the time for that. But I think there are many things that we can learn. On the whole, I'd say I agree with many of what he said and disagree with some. Earlier, it was explained that we have 4 categories of lectures. The first 2 categories, the view from inside and the view from outside, are both about the University of the Philippines. And the plan is that at the end of 2008, when all 30 lectures shall have been delivered, incidentally, this is the 24th. Is this the 24th lecture for the year? And there are 6 more to go because we have a total of 30 lectures. So at the end of the year, December, we shall have completed all the lectures. And we have already created a core group of faculty members from Diliman and Manila. The members of the core group include Professor Randy David, Dean Noel de Dios of the School of Economics, former Dean Cynthia Bautista, and University Professor Ernesto Domingo. All 4 of them will try to synthesize the lectures of the first 2 categories. Because, as I said, these are the 2 categories that deal on UP as an institution. They will try to bring out the issues that have been raised by our lecturers and integrate all these issues. We are planning in 2009 to send out all of these issues to all the campuses and engage them in discussions. The idea being that sometime in April, we are going to have a grand conference, not only involving the faculty, but the students, the staff, and the alumni. And we will answer the question, where are we going? Based on the issues that have been raised, and most definitely the issues that were raised by Dr. David will be part of the list. What we would like to do is to find out how we can nurture or develop character among our students, because the criticism now is that it seems we are graduating students and still much is desired about character development. That's one. We might have to answer the question, how do we exactly build a sense of country among our students, or a sense of service to the nation? So these are the major questions we will ask, and we will draw from the lectures of the first 2 categories. So we are all looking forward to that, and I hope UP Los Baños will rise to the challenge once the issues have been called out, because the grand conference cannot involve everybody. There will be a process that will be followed. There will be consultations and discussions at the campus level, and then there will be a delegation from the different campuses, and we will have that one big conference. So we are, the work is just starting. The real work will be next year when we plan out the general direction for the University of the Philippines for its second century. So I urge you to get involved. We need the guidance of the young and the old, the men and the women, people from different disciplines and interests and inclinations. So we are hoping you will be very active in the discussions. Our appeal is to set aside your personal interests, but instead look at the overall interest of the institution that will survive us all. Okay. So at this point, I'd like to present our certificate to Dr. David, who is our Centennial Fellow. Incidentally, there are only 12 of these Centennial Fellows from all over the system, and they have been selected by a group chaired by, I think I chaired the committee, and and they were chosen for their scholarship and for their deep commitment to the University of the Philippines. So that is how I would describe Dr. David. So to Dr. David, this is the certificate of award as a Centennial Fellow. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you, President Roman and Dr. David. On behalf of the Centennial Lecture Series Committee, we thank you, our lecturer, for the insightful view that he shared with us this afternoon. Before we end this afternoon's program, allow us to thank the audience here in UP Los Baños as well as those in the other campuses. Okay, thank you for joining us today. May I request everybody to please rise for the UP Naming Mahal.